If you're a heating and air conditioning technician or even a salesperson, what do you need to know about meeting with Mr. Big? And why does it matter? This is a super important question. I'm Scott Bell, coming to you live from Haleiwa, Oahu on a perfect day to talk about sales and a perfect day to talk about you. All right, so let's define this. Mr. Big is gonna be the executive or the female executive that is like way up at the top of the pyramid. And as you start looking at the economies of scale of a business, the higher that somebody has of revenue and income, the more valuable their time becomes. And the reason why this is important is there's going to be a time where somebody says, hey, can you come talk to me? Or B, will you come talk to my people? And if you are in either one of those categories, you really have to pay attention to what's going on. So let's start with A. You somehow get an appointment with Mr. Big or Mrs. Big, and you say, hey, here's the conversation that we're gonna have, and I recognize that I have 30 minutes. You better prepare for that 30 minutes. Flying by the seat of your pants is something you could do for a low dollar, non-risk example, but when it comes to a high dollar, high risk example, you're going to want to make sure that you have your presentation prepared. Recently, a friend of mine explained a story about somebody going and seeing Mr. Big and said, hey, I want to present on XYZ, and the meeting was agreed to, and this is a high dollar individual. So salesperson goes to meet with Mr. Big, decides to say, aha, we're not talking about XYZ, I have to talk about 1, 2, 3. Mr. Big wasn't happy because he didn't want to talk about 1, 2, 3. He didn't want to have the conversation, and he was like, my time got wasted. That salesperson has been blackballed from the organization, right? So if by some chance you get this meeting with Mr. Big or Mrs. Big, whoever it may be, please, please, please pay attention to what your agenda is and what you promised to have a conversation with. So I'm frequently in the room with business owners who do $100 million a year, $200 million a year, and they tell me, hey, Scott, one of my frustrations is when people fake the meeting, I lose respect for them, and it takes a lot to get on my calendar and get on my schedule. So like, you get to a point in business, 10 million, 20 million, 30 million, 100 million, 200 million, 500 million, a billion, like that time starts becoming super valuable. And this is why you should join my email list. I'll give you the goods. Not in the Facebook group, not in the YouTube channel, which means private coaching, private training, discounted coaching, discounted training. I have got to pay for my bad habits, right? So there might be money involved. I like to buy ribeye steaks that are medium rare. I like to get the Aloha shirts. I like colognes, and I like trips to tropical locations. Let's just say what it is. Now let's talk about B. B is there's going to be a point where Mr. Big or Mrs. Big says, hey, I've got a group of people, 10 people, 20 people, 30 people, 40 people, 50 people. I need you to distill some information. And like, this is the time for you to be like, I'm on my A game. I have prepared. And sometimes what you need to know is this happens at a moment's notice. There's going to be a time where you're somewhere and Mr. Big or Mrs. Big, someone's excited over there. Mr. Big or Mrs. Big says, hey, here's all the things that I need you to do. Well, that is the time that you bring your A game and you don't screw around and you deliver the goods, right? So Mr. Big, Mrs. Big calls you up, says, hey, here's my platform, here's my stage, here's all the things that I want you to do. I need you to present. If you have told Mr. Big or Mrs. Big that you've got the skills, the talents, and the capabilities to do what I just explained, you got to do it. There you go. You got one of 3 things to do from here, just one of 3. Find the subscribe button, click on it. Every time I send out a video, you will get an update. 2, hit follow this is social media. Or 3, you will be my favorite person of the day. If you share this video with a friend or tag them, that would be fantastic. Coming to you live from Haleiwa, Oahu. Let's take a look at this, right? Today, I don't see any turtles. There haven't been any turtles. There's no turtles on the beach. There's nothing. Like there's a few people out here today. Oh, there's a turtle right there. There's a big turtle right there, okay? And sun's gonna set over a K and a point. There's a couple people over there. Just want to let you know that I do appreciate you. We'll see you soon. Aloha and mahalo.